what am I doing? Okay, I'm sharing an experience, guys. I'm doing great. Venus is doing great. So, sometimes when we have experiences, and then we receive like clarity after the fact, like after the experience, then the experience becomes more, we're able to appreciate the experience more. Right? Come on, son. Hey, Tanya, right? And we look back and we are thankful for every single moment of the experience, right? I mean, every single intricate detail of the experience. It doesn't matter like how we felt in the moment, because we reached that clarification or we reached that aha moment, right? So I'm going to be sharing one such, well, not one, but just like something that happened like that for me. That was very humbling, and that was very, I would say, enlightening, and that was very heartfelt, right? Tanya. Okay. First, let me focus. All right. So the feeling or emotion or energy, feeling, emotion, whatever we call it, that is surrounding or that is the base of this topic or conversation is shame, right? Shame / guilt. And then how we are able to shed shame within ourselves in order for us to make a jump or a leap, or in order for us to release the perception that people try to impose on us and live a more authentic and freeing life and have a more authentic and freeing experience, right? So we're talking about shame and guilt. So shame basically is, hi Irie daughter, how you doing, love? For me, shame would be a feeling that is a not so good feeling if we're classifying feelings or emotions as negative or positive or high or low vibration, right? Or a good, not so good feeling. So shame would be a not so good feeling. It's an oppressing feeling, and it brings us down. It brings down our energy. It brings down the light that shines within us, right? And it keeps us stuck, and it keeps us low, and it keeps us out of balance and out of flow. Shame and guilt. So sometimes our ego self take full control in moments where it sees fit, and it makes us act outside of our inner being, do things that we wouldn't normally do if we were like in full alignment. And that is completely normal. Maybe we were meant to behave that way so that we could have this enlightening experience. This is why we do not judge ourselves firstly, and we do not judge others. It doesn't matter what they're doing, what they're saying, how they are behaving, right? And because casting judgment on another, you're basically casting judgment on yourself as well. So for me, I had this feeling of shame and guilt, and I wasn't aware that it was shame, like to the extent that it was, until after the fact. So it's very personal, and it had to do with a transition that was happening in my life, right? And how I came onto like this next chapter in my life, right? There was some shame around it. Like I felt like I knew the next step or what was gonna happen, you know, like after this, okay, after I do this, this is gonna happen. After I do this, this has to happen. And that's not how it went. because things are always changing. If we're always asking for alignment and we're always asking for guidance, then we can't expect to know the outcome of everything. And that is what releasing the outcome of something looks like, allowing for the divine to guide you, right? So when this happened, I was like, yeah, I don't feel really good about this. I thought I knew what I was going to do, and it didn't look like this, right? It didn't look like this. And now I feel kind of ashamed, and I don't want to be out there in the public. I don't want people to know my story or the personal details of it, which I have no issue sharing or talking about right now. And I feel that is because I rose above shame and I rose above guilt. And I don't judge the feelings or emotions anymore. I just allow them to come in and leave as they are intended to. But one thing that you can ask yourself is, what are you ashamed of? Firstly, what are you truly ashamed of? And you cannot lie to yourself. You have to be honest. What area in your life do you place the most shame on? Right? Because the same area in your life that you are placing shame on is the same area in your life that you are perceiving others to place shame on you. Because a lot of the times people really aren't judging you. You're judging yourself. And because you're judging yourself, that's the energy that you're creating around yourself, right? Which means you're going to feel like when people come around you, that's the energy that they're sending towards you. You are basically manifesting this. You're basically calling in this energy. Okay, I'm going to be judging myself. I'm going to be so self-critical. I want everybody around me to judge, to be judging me. This is the life I'm living. This is my reality. Send me more of this, universe. That's basically what you're asking to happen, right? So you have to be more self-aware of when you are emitting an emotion or a vibration that is not for your highest good, right? I saw something coming and disappear. If I hadn't allowed for that transition to take place, I would not be where I am right now, which is bountiful and beautiful and joyous. And an experience in itself. Y'all know how pregnancy is. The first trimester is a prank. The second trimester is all sunshine and rainbow. And then the third one is like, I gotta sleep, right? Or it's different for everybody, but yeah. I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful for the partner that my daughter chose to co-create with. We all chose to co-create and create this beautiful being. And I didn't think it was going to play out like this, because we had our differences and we were just, fill in the blanks. But I am so grateful for her, and I am so grateful for her trusting me to allow for things to flow. And I'm so grateful to myself as well for not fighting so much, because I can fight a lot. Like if I don't like something, I'll fight my way out of it. But she chose someone who she knew that I would resonate with during my pregnancy, and it's my first pregnancy. And she basically was up there. She's like, that's the person that mommy needs to co-create with right now, for her to be in a space where she is able to remain healthy and she's able to bring me into this realm. She's like, that's the person, like he's right there, and let's do that one. You know how they are, right? So I wouldn't say that it is about me. Like, it's not about me and it's not about him. It's about her being there and seeing what I needed, and obviously what he needed as well, because she's coming here for both of us. And I'm so grateful and thankful that she chose him as a partner. And that was one of my biggest release that I had to do, because we're kind of on two different scales, fill in the blanks. So for me, I am this very, you guys know me, right? And he's on his journey, and his focus is kind of here, kind of there, kind of what I see, how I perceive things, but it's also elsewhere, and I allow him to be himself and to be that person. And that's another releasing that this whole experience taught me, to just let it go, that just let it flow, everything is fine. He doesn't need to be this person. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of the expectations for the masculine collective, on behalf of the expectations that we as women hold for our partners, or the fathers of our children, or sons, or brothers, or uncles, right? We hold this expectation as women because I'm not going to say it's easier for women to be more aware, but in our collective, the women are more aware, and they're more tapped in, and they're more drawn to spirituality, and they're more, consciously aware, and so there's more feminine energy. But for the masculine collective currently, in our space, not speaking on behalf of the entire planet, but it probably is, it's not so much, right? They're on their own journey, and they don't see things the way you see it. They don't perceive things the way you perceive it, not all of them. And we have to allow them to be themselves. We have to allow them to play the part that they are meant to play, because they're going to play exactly the part they're meant to play. And then if it is that you guys are supposed to stay together on this journey and to keep going, that is exactly what's going to happen. Or it's going to, you know how the universe works. There's going to come a time when it just is like, it's time to go your separate ways, and tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're not going to try to create resistance around that. So I guess don't be shameful around how you perceive your life to be, or the people around you, the people in your life, your actions as well. When we do things, we don't forgive ourselves. We're like, it's okay, I did it, I'm sorry, and I'm gonna move on. But did you really do that? Did you really? Because no, you didn't. In my second trimester, I was not overly, I'm saying I was not, because I already see myself give birth and everything, so bear with me, right? But I wasn't very overly emotional during my pregnancy. I was not very overly emotional. I didn't really crave anything. I didn't have any of that. I just was walking around, looking, sleeping, puking, stuff like that, right? But I wasn't overly emotional. And I lost my chain of thought, but I'm going to get it back. Right. So I wasn't overly emotional, which is why I could not blame my actions on hormonal imbalance or hormones. I don't blame my actions on hormones. I take accountability for the things that I say and do. And I try to take accountability for these things very quickly. Right? Very quickly could be a week or a month, but it can't go over a month. Otherwise I get pulled up. But there was a time when there was like a lot of altercation, kind of surrounding me. And I got so angry at the people who were around me. And I'm not going to blame this on, zodiac placements either, because that's not what it is. We're not doing that. We're taking accountability. We're not placing blame on zodiac signs or placements. And I'm not placing blame on pregnancy hormones, right? I got so angry, and I became a version of myself that I was able to recognize from like 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, you easily pop off. 10 years ago, you easily punch somebody in the face. 10 years ago, you easily say hurtful things to people to hurt them, to hurt their feelings. 10 years ago, you easily say things to manipulate people and to bring them down. 10 years ago, you crave this power to win an argument or to win, whatever this, you say this, I say that, the back and forth thing, right? So I became a version of myself in that moment for like a split second. It was just like a split second. Somebody said something, I'm like, boom. I'm like this completely different person, right? And man, when I left and I moved away physically, like you leave the area and you're by yourself. This all played out like in like a couple of hours. So it was like 2 hours. And when I came back by myself, I was like, I'm so embarrassed, right? I was so ashamed and embarrassed, and I was feeling so much guilt about the way that I spoke to an individual. And then I just started to critique myself. The self-critique and the self-judgment just came on so heavy in that moment. I was like, there is absolutely no way I call myself a ball of light, and there's no way I call myself a healer. There's absolutely no way I call myself the energy of love. There's absolutely no way I'm a replica of Source and I preach these messages and I'm doing this type of work. And I presented myself and I allowed myself to be that person in that moment. I was like, and this is like in my second trimester, right? So you guys know me, and you see, when you come online and you see, it's sun and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm light, I'm shining, I'm glowing. But in that moment, I was not glowing. And because I was not glowing, and I stepped outside of myself, and I chose to interact and have that experience, I felt so remorseful and I felt so ashamed. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to talk to her. I need to apologize. I need to tell her I'm sorry. And how am I going to present myself now? Because how am I going to be a teacher when behind closed doors, this is how I speak to somebody? You're fake. You're a fraud. You're not who you say you are. But there's nobody saying these things to me. I was the one that was saying these things to myself. And I had to stop myself, and I had to say, no, it's okay. This is a learning moment for you, right? This is you learning to grow and rise above the ego. This is you learning to choose when you want to be an observer or when you want to interact. And either of them is fine, but where do you want to be? What space do you want to be in? Do you want to be somebody who's interacting and like all wrapped up in this, not so good feeling? Is that the person you want to be? No, you don't want to be that person. You are acting outside of yourself, outside of your source self. And that is not who I am. That is not who I claim to be, which means I'm going to forgive myself in the blink of an eye. And I'm going to show up as my authentic self, because that's not my authentic self. And there's absolutely no need for me to be ashamed, right? Because it's okay. How you behave, it's okay. You observe how you behave, you look back, oh, that was not me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, that was not me. I forgive myself. I release that. That's definitely a learning experience. Next time, you know that's the ego stepping in. Next time, you know, girl, hold your ground, stay grounded. Because here's the thing, sometimes you can be in physical spaces that are negatively charged. And so it's very easy for you to get pulled in that vibration and you know, react a certain way. As opposed to if I was in a space with, you know, people who are on a different frequency, it's not so easy for you to go off balance. But in this world, on this island, in this country here, around these people, in these human avatars, it can become very tricky, and it can become very, you just have to see it. But then, this is the beautiful part, right? The beautiful part is when you are able to look back and appreciate the moment that it happened, and you are able to release that, and you are able to go back to your true essence. Because what happened before was contrast, that feeling of contrast of what I don't wish to be compared to who I am. This is who you are not, and this is who you are. So shame and guilt. That was a very humbling experience for me, and that is something that I wanted to speak about, because I want people to be aware that we are all one. There is no one above you. There is no one below you. We're all in this together, literally holding hands, literally rooting for each other, like all the time. Literally sending energy through our heart space, through whatever space we need to. Now, I didn't necessarily apologize to the individual like in the physical form, because I didn't think it was appropriate at that time, because she might not be in a space of receiving. But I did a energy clearing session where I sent her love, and now what I feel from her is love. And I understand, you know, the difference in energy, and, you know, it's fine. And now you're able to move on, because that's the point. That's the aim of things, to learn, to experience, to grow, to move on. And to also understand that you could be admiring someone on a platform. This doesn't mean that in any way, shape, or form this person is above you, right? This person is having a human experience just like you. This person is simply learning and growing and acknowledging the lessons that are happening in their, you know, experience, and they intend, I speak for myself and the people in our community, all of you guys who are learning, growing, blossoming, shining, glowing, we are just intending to share our experience and to shed light, and to remind you that you are me and I am you, and we are one. That's like the message. The message is we are one. We're always going to be one. And even the people who are not aware, we are still one with them. They are still on their journey, and they're still playing a part. And it doesn't matter where they are on their journey, they are still playing a part. Sometimes they just don't know it. So that's the beautifulness of connectedness. So if for any reason you are holding any shame around any form of situation or any happenings that occurred, let it go and rise above that. and be your glowful, loving, flamboyant, energetic, powerful goddess self. Be that person, because that is who you are. You're not these experiences, honey. So there's absolutely no need for you to stay behind a feeling like guilt, shame, anger, sadness. Ooh, I don't know if people are going to accept me. What do you mean? Nobody needs to accept you. Accept yourself. Live for you. Live for you totally and authentically. Nobody needs to accept you. Nobody needs to validate you. Do what you want to do with no explanation. And ask that it is always for your highest good and for the highest good of all. And that is what living in freedom feels like, when you live authentically for yourself and not for others. That song that Bob Marley was singing about, freedom, that's what freedom is. It's a mental state where you have no obligations or ties to anything or anyone. You're living in alignment with your highest self, and you're doing the things that are for your highest good and for the highest good of the collective. And if you can find that energy and you can incorporate your existence in that energy field or that energy vortex, I promise you'll have a more authentic, more fulfilling, more joyous, more freeing existence. But first, you have to reclaim